Hey, legendary leader. Today I want to talk a little about the broken system of the workplace, the way that we give up our power, I feel, by labeling workplaces as broken. I've come to appreciate that as businesses and companies, organizations, institutions are started, that the way they're designed is ultimately with an end goal in mind to bring about business, especially to, you know, have a sustainable clientele. For me, being in the world of medicine, that would be to have a ongoing patient list that continues to grow. And at some point, I feel like that initial way of doing things is outgrown as more and more employees come on board, as more and more clients or patients come on board, as the needs and demands of both the clients and the employees, they take a different shape. And even as the industries or life as we know it begins to transform, as change happens, it's like the world is changing, but the businesses are not. They're stagnant, or the systems of the business, I should clarify, are stagnant. So we can think of many companies where over time their model has transformed to meet the demands of their clients. However, not necessarily that they take into place the need for their organizational governance to also be upgraded to support their staff. And I think that's when it's a breaking point, when we upgrade everything else with the goal of being profitable, but we don't consider that arm that still leads to the profitability of the company, I think, because with loss of staff, and then you have staff members who might be thinking about leaving the job because they're just at a point where they can't take it anymore, the stress, the strain, and not having adequate support to do their responsibilities, and loss of staff and needing to hire and onboard new staff. I know that could be, I think it's up to two, maybe up to four times as much as just maintaining your previous staff who knows how to do what it is that you need them to do. And so it's usually the staff, the employees, it's us as leaders label the system as broken. And then it usually ends there. We would say, oh, the system's broken. It's not working out for us. But I'm someone where I don't like to just become aware and highlight the problem at hand. I love to think of potential solutions. I love to brainstorm. I think it's like one of my superpowers, thinking outside of the box and, just being rebellious against what is commonly accepted to be, you know, normal. I'm all about like or Let's create a different normal that feels better for all. So I believe that if we look at the potential of the times that we exist right now, where organizations, and there are so many of them, where staff are not really taken into much consideration as an essential part of what keeps the business going and working well. I think for the most part, when it comes to stakeholders, it's just a matter of, hey, we paid you, so figure out everything else on your own. I know that there are companies that are doing their best by their employees. They're stewarding them well. They're stewarding and protecting their top talent because, you know what? They don't want to lose them. And then, two, they just are so forward in their understanding about what it takes to run a successful business. All parts are pertinent for them to be able to trust that their employees have their best interests at heart and will, take care of their clients and take care of house even when they themselves are not physically actively present. And I think more and more organizations need to get on board with that level of thinking. I could always think about my workplace where the the saying in the hallways and on the boards is that, you know, I've been through it being a senior employee. I've been through it, so you have to do it too, being someone who's, just recently come on team, or, your early career with the work. It's like it's almost like a badge of honor because I suffered and I endured and it made me strong. And it does make us strong. I admit to that. It's good when you are resilient due to firsthand experience. But I think that to a certain level, it would be a healthy way of training our resilience. Then it gets to a point where you rely so much on grit to take you through the long standing and ongoing uncomfortable pressures of your workplace that, the resilience is no longer enough to get you through. Start having thoughts about, surely this can't be my life. Surely there has to be better. Surely there's another job that I don't feel depleted at the end of the day and unsatisfied and unhappy. I was in the grocery store yesterday just picking up 2 items. I ended up leaving with 4 items. Not bad. And I, with waiting for the lady at the cashier who's checking me out to give me my total and what have you. She didn't give me the total. I just, took it upon myself to look. And that grocery store works with like redemption points, loyalty points, sort of thing. So I handed her my phone so that she could scan my barcode so that they could get my points. Usually, what they do is they say your last name just to confirm that, yeah, that's your account. She didn't say my last name, so I was like, okay. I was like, Dorset, right? So she's like, and by the time she handed me my receipt, I noticed she had given me the hard copy physical points, which was a stop. It's a stop system that they're trying to phase out of, but I guess they still have enough in stock, so they're trying to use it up. And I stopped and I was like, "Hey, didn't you already scan my code to give me the points?" And then she realized, and she was like, she took it back out of my hand, the stamps. And I said, "Just waiting to get home, aren't you?" And she was like, so with that being said, if I wasn't alert enough, I think, to be aware that, hey, she scanned my phone and then I have these extra stamps in my hand, which I shouldn't have because that's like I would have gotten like double the stamps, which uh, but being the honest person that I am, I didn't want it to be like a thing, especially not for her. I don't know if there would be repercussions for that, but just to say that, you know, while certain jobs come with high demands that do leave us tired at the end of the day or maybe even mid shift, I believe that there is so much more that we could do actively to ensure that we protect our workforce, which I believe is the bloodline of any organization. The clients are important because with their business, it keeps the doors open, yes. But then who's running your ship to ensure that the clients are satisfied and they continue to come? It's like client satisfaction, patient satisfaction for me helps as putting organizations in terms of like ranking them as, top rated. Competition is real, especially with the rate technology has advanced these past decades. So you want to be not just on top of your game with whatever services you provide, you also want to be leading the way as much as possible, doing the new thing or doing additional things that other similar competitors would not yet have started doing. And I love that it doesn't even need to be something big. It could be something so small, like going into a local coffee shop when I do visit. I notice that it's the coffee store. They start by saying, "Hi, welcome." And it was like a recent addition because when I went inside and I heard it, it kind of like startled me. Like I was like, "What?" Like what? And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. It's good to be here." Uh, so yeah, just to say that it's the small things that really make a big difference. And I know there's even a book out there on that, and we've heard this concept before. So my thing is, why not start looking for ways that we could apply that and implement these principles in our workplaces? Why is it that we are considering the workplace as like a completely different animal? Like some things are universal in how they work. I think it's time that we take back our authority and our power in the workplace. I'm talking to my leaders out there because we are the in between man for both the stakeholders and the workforce at large. We're the ones who feel the weight of leadership responsibilities. So I think it's time that we look for ways to take back our power instead of putting it all on, oh, the system is broken. That may or may not be true. But we are the ones who have the abilities, or we might know someone who could shift things where it works better. It feels lighter on the staff. That's why I started Happy Healthy Transform, because I'm so excited knowing this being my purpose to be a part of the solution, supporting organizations. I think of organizations as organism. Supporting organizations in better stewarding their leadership team, because I believe that transformed leaders will model the way and transform their teams. And because it's the teams that make up organizations, transform teams will transform the workplace culture from feeling so heavy and tight and restrictive and draining and unhappy. And that culture is going to ripple and transform the organization. And as more and more organizations, get on board with this new way, this new era of happy, healthy workplaces, that's going to transform the industry. I just feel like as human beings, we have so much creative capacity to bring forth what may not have existed before, or to put a spin on something that does exist, all to serve our unique needs. There are needs that we are ignoring for the leaders. And I'm here to change that. So if I could leave you with an action step that I think would help in this arena on this topic that we're speaking about today. If you are someone who works in a workplace where you feel like things could be better regarding your experience on the job, not like particular, you know, policies or whatever sort of thing, like things that might just come with the territory of your job. So your overall experience at work, if you feel like, what, yeah, things could be better, or yeah, I'm at a point where like I feel like this is sucking the very life out of me. I encourage you to first become aware of what exactly it is that drains you. of your energy and your joy within your work experience. Write it down, keep it at the forefront. Because I think many times, even though we might feel that strain, we don't stop to consider the specific reasons why we're feeling that way. And then bring back your power, take back your power. There you go. Take back your power and think of what is one way I could elevate my workplace experience starting now. And the easier, the better. It could be like, if I could give you a few examples, it could be as simple as having something nearby that reminds you of something happy, like whether that be, flowers on your desk. I don't know if that's allowed in all places, but flowers, or photo of a great experience, a trip you might have taken, like you just had to be there type of thing. But so when you look up at it, you enjoy it. Of course, remembering resources such as Happy Healthy Transform, in particular our Leadership Reset newsletter, which comes out weekly, and which each week's issue we provide a fresh power pause for you to support you. And I also listen to the power pauses in the middle of my day, sometimes also at the end of my day when I'm just like trying to simmer down from bed. So you might find that in the midst of your day when you're starting to feel strained, reach for that very there and very effective tool, which is our newsletter, and just listen to it. You don't even have to read. You could close your eyes if you can for 5 minutes. I mean, 5 minutes, and just go like either straight to the power pause. I do separate those recordings for persons where it's like, I just want the power pause. I already read the rest of it, sort of thing. I'm committing to it, keeping that as a constant in your day, because it helps. It helps so much in just bringing a sense of peace, and reminding you that even though you might be in the middle of the crazy, the chaos, you still have full control of your internal environment. Yeah. If you do decide to take me up on answering this prompt, so identifying, I want you to share. Go ahead, and so I'm going to put in this link, the link for you to comment and share what is it that you are aware of that drains you at work, and then what is it that you have decided you're going to do to take back your power and intentionally start crafting a beautiful, satisfying workplace experience for yourself. And I'm going to do it too. I'll see you guys next time. But remember, happy, healthy, transform. Take back your happy, take back your health, and be transformed.